Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Hey,
our Game Live panel. How is everybody doing tonight?
doing great. Thanks
Yes.
to Gaming for having us.
Oh my gosh, yes. Welcome to our panel entitled Growing an Inclusive and Lasting LGBTQ plus Esports Community, where we are going to be discussing our own queer esports community called the Chicago Metropolitan Sports Association, which we call CMSA. Show them the shirt, Jake. Do you see it?
Oh
There
yeah,
it
I think
is.
so.
There's
I
the
think so.
shirt.
Yeah, people are seeing it. Here we go.
That jazz. Our esports community is hosted within Discord. Is currently home to 1,000 gamers and growing. Gaming Live, presented by Ally in the Community Zone, is sponsored by Devolver Digital. Thank you both for your support in making this happen and having us here today. And during this panel, we're going to cover the success and trials that we have faced as a product of COVID-19, in creating this esports space that we have so far, and we'll discuss what we believe are like the secret sauce pieces in creating a virtual space that is lasting, dynamic, and inclusive. But let's start first with introductions. My name is Vladimir. I will be moonlighting as both the pseudo moderator and a panelist during this coffee talk. I go by he, him pronouns, and by day, I'm a marketer at Zynga. It's a mobile gaming company. But by night, I'm a league manager within our esports group alongside the wonderful, regrettably, Jake and BB Kyle. Jake, let me kick it on over to you so you can introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Jake. I'm the commissioner over at CMSA Esports. Like Lad mentioned, I work with him to run the League of Legends League, and we're kicking off. I am kicking off a new Fortnite League in October. So if you're interested in joining, we'll be sharing some links later. So we'd love to have you guys. By day, I am a software product manager. My pronouns are he, him. I'll kick it over to you, Kyle. You're muted. Oh no.
No.
So
Oh
sorry about
no.
that. I like after I was like heard during the intro thing, I was like, oh no, I gotta mute myself again. But hi everybody, I'm BB Kyle. I'm one of the CMSA Esports League managers, particularly for Dead by Daylight. Hope to expand on that. I have some ideas in the future of some other games to get into, but currently Dead by Daylight. I also help with some various marketing efforts and do most of our social media content. Outside of CMSA, I work as a recruiter, and when I'm really having fun, I'm streaming every Friday and Saturday evening various horror games on Twitch.
Super fun. Your stream is always such a good time.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let's dive right in because we've only got 45 minutes and the clock is ticking and we have a lot to talk about. So let's start with what our community is. What is our mission? Why do we exist? Jake, I'll kick it to you first.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we are CMSA Esports. Again, like Lad mentioned, we are a really big internet community of queer gamers, mostly focused out of our Discord server. We kind of spun up as part of the Chicago Metropolitan Sports Association, which is a Chicago-based like queer recreational sports league for kind of they have a similar mission to us again because we kind of spawned out of them. Their mission is to create space for queer people to enjoy a safe and inclusive environment while engaging in kind of recreational and social sports. And we brought that to esports again, just with our mission of creating queer space for people to engage in an inclusive environment, playing video games, competitive video games specifically. So we facilitate like regular, ongoing, organized play opportunities like leagues and tournaments. And we do stuff for things like League of Legends. We have Smite, Apex Legends, Dead by Daylight. We're kicking off a Fortnite League. And then we also like to bring on like casual games just so people can get to know each other across the server. Things like we just had a 4-week kind of Goose Duck League. We've done Fall Guys before. We've done Jackbox game nights. Just kind of community building opportunities to really create kind of a social cohesion in the group. Yeah, and like Lad mentioned, we are kind of a product of the pandemic. Kyle, would you like to hop in?
Yeah. So, interestingly, I'm actually from Chicago. I'd been a member of CMSA for about 10 years, not to like date myself, but I had been a member of CMSA for like 10 years. And then, the whole COVID thing happened, and it really just put a complete like damper on my social life. I was like the type of person that used to go out all the time. And I was trying to figure out a way to kind of stay social during social distancing and everything. And so I decided to buy a gaming system, and I hadn't gamed in maybe 10 years since then. And I had reached out to CMSA because of the fact that I wanted to kind of just like see if they were like ever thinking about esports. And it just happened to be something that was being considered at the time, and they asked me to come to a meeting, and I was like able to get involved, and it kind of like spun from there. And the thing is I used to live in Chicago, and I don't anymore. I moved to random like middle of nowhere Tennessee. So it really kind of helped me to stay connected to people while all the way kind of out now by myself, where I had spent the last 10 years making relationships and friendships and things like that. And so it kind of everything just fell right into place. And then COVID now is starting to end, but I really felt like this community has grown so much, and it has been thriving. And you hate to say like something good came out of like COVID, but silver lining to a bad situation, and it kind of gave us something so nice. So I'm really happy with the way things have been turning out for us.
Yeah, I think that it's I love this idea that you were in Chicago, you did CMSA for so long, and by the way, like the CMSA does like in-person sports, right? So on Fridays we go to the beach and we play volleyball together, and then you could do soccer, and there's kickball, there's all kinds of sports, and the point of it is the whole social interaction. Well, then you move away from Chicago and you go somewhere like Tennessee or somewhere I'm from, like Pennsylvania, and you don't get that. And so the fact that esports can really transcend in our Discord space, and people from all over. I mean, what you can't really keep it Chicago once it's digital, right? Someone's like, oh, my friend's joining, they're from St. Louis, and you're like, okay, that's like kind of Chicago. And then my friend's joining, and they're from Ireland, and you're like, so we're now a global organization. Okay, very cool, But it's nice because then everybody gets to connect in ways that you wouldn't otherwise get to be able to.
And you're totally right, because I think having lived in Chicago and having been a member of like the in-person CMSA sports, it was coming out here. I knew it was going to be different, but I didn't really realize how different, how much less access to gay people I was gonna have. I mean, that should have been obvious to me. That's my bad. But it made me also realize coming out here how much of an asset our community is to some people. And in my Dead by Daylight league, we have people from all over also. I think very few actually end up being from Chicago proper. And so I've gotten to really see how it is kind of a sole outlet for some people to be around gay people. And Dead by Daylight actually by itself, by the game's nature, there's no comms in it. So when you're playing that online, you're not really talking to anybody. You're kind of playing by yourself unless you already had a group of friends to play with. And so it was really nice that we created this thing. So now I'm able to introduce people that are queer people that play a game like Dead by Daylight and maybe playing it alone, and then introducing them into a community where they can actually make another gay friend, whether it's online or otherwise. So yeah.
Absolutely.
We do like tournaments like weekly, like for 9 weeks at a time. We'll do every single week is let's say every Tuesday we come in, we do League of Legends, we keep score and all this. But exactly what you're saying, Kyle, that's Tuesdays, and then what are you going to do on Wednesdays? Well, now you have all these friends that that you've just met on Tuesdays, and now you can play with them for fun on Wednesday. So I think that idea of connection is really cool. And so this panel on what makes a space last, like an esports space like ours, like why have we been able to do this for years now? I think we're coming up on 2 years, which is pretty cool. And also how to be inclusive, right? So there's a lot of different spaces out there. You can go on one of those Discord sites and look up, esports, and there's a ton of different ones. And I've seen people kind of start, I've seen them kind of go. So what do we believe are the key ingredients that have kind of helped us stick around?
That's a really good question, right? I mean, like, I think one of them is kind of, we have a really great team of like active, engaged moderators. Like, all of our moderators play in our leagues week to week. They are in touch with the community. And then they're also just kind of around in the Discord space. Like you said, people are playing in the space with their new friends that they've made through it, like on a Wednesday when the league is only on Tuesdays. But, like our great moderators and community members, even just people who like know what our community is about, will kind of engage and let people know what's appropriate behavior and what's not appropriate behavior, and have conversations with people to help them understand what our space is about, and what kind of standards of behavior are expected. So I think a lot of that, we also have like a really, we have really strict enforcement of our, like rules and consequences. We have community guidelines that we call the vibe check. And when people aren't meeting those expectations, we have like personal one-on-one conversations with them to let them know, here's what's expected of you. If you're going to be a part of this community, you need to engage in a pro-social way. And, like, we have had to let people go from the community because they couldn't, and like being strict and saying, here's our standards for participation, and you need to meet them. You need to protect the people in your community from people who are going to come in and be toxic. Lad, I know you have some thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I think that one of the most important things for a community to last is just to have content that is consistent. I think so many times you go into spaces and they're doing something really cool, and then it's kind of like a wave, like maybe that person had time at that moment to plan that thing, and now they don't. And so there's not a lot of planners out there in the world. So if you find something that's fun to participate in that someone's willing to plan, that's great, so long as they're willing to plan it. And as soon as that's done, well, now your space is kind of missing, right? So when I think about these different leagues that we put together, I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and we have extensive teams of people who are putting this together. The sign-up sheets for a league, all of the recruitment that needs to happen, getting people into teams, setting what the rules are going to be, keeping people happy, right? Like facilitating each and every week, then closing things out, and then kind of doing it all over again. And so I think one of the nice things that we've really been able to latch onto is this idea of consistency. So before our season ends, we already have the next one planned, and we have enough people on our moderation team that we can, like they say this about protesting, you put down the signpost, you have someone else to carry it for you. So you can't do everything yourself all the time. Example, I just got married a couple of weeks ago, which is very exciting, but Kyle, Jake, and so many other moderators were able to pick up all of the spaces in which I was dropping during that time. And now that I'm back, someone else can go do their thing, right? And so you need a great team, but you have to be so consistent with what you're putting on in your space. And your space is only going to thrive as long as you have a team of people willing to continue putting. I mean, as soon as you stop, people leave, and you're kind of done. Like you don't really get a second chance. It's hard to build it back up.
Yeah, I will say, just to build on what you're saying, like on top of consistency, it has to be consistently good, right? Like, I mean, I can't say enough how much like League of Legends League has evolved, right? Because like regularly Lad is putting out like, a mid-season survey to see how people are feeling about it, an end of season survey to see like what rules changes do we need, what kind of prizes are people interested in, how can we improve as a community, and how can we improve the space that we're creating and curating. And so I think like, just that active engagement with that process as well, of like knowing you need to evolve and grow with what the people in your community want and need, while still, having that core mission of like, we are creating space for queer people to engage in a safe and inclusive way with esports is really, really important.
Yeah, that's a really great point. You guys, you obviously do surveys. We as a whole, I should say, we all like to do surveys, and what's really nice about it, I mean, even like when I do like even a survey, which I don't know why I do this, as I'm just like a glutton for punishment, but I will like specifically bait people into criticizing me in the survey because I really want to know, like, we want to know, I should say, like, we really want to know what is every single thing that's wrong, where can we improve, what could make things better. Our Dead by Daylight I can speak to, just because that's what I run. We've had, what is it, three go, and our fourth season, or fourth tournament is coming up next month. We realize where like certain conflicts are happening amongst players and things like that, and we've built a really good Dead by Daylight community, and we like realize where some conflicts are coming. We are having people give us advice on what they think is wrong with scoring, how to make it more equitable. Even I've gotten prizes provided to us by behavior that have been very nice, and we wanted to make sure that this still feels like a community as opposed to an esports battle where people are overly competitive and just trying to figure out what is the fastest way to a win. We want to kind of like foster something that really is more about people building friendships and just having fun. And so we've like, for Dead by Daylight, moved from having prizes that are so much skill based in the game to more like a participation type of prize, so that everybody has a chance. I mean, even this most recent one, our person who got last place ended up winning $50 worth of Auric cells, which I don't know if you know, but that's a lot of Auric cells. And it's just like getting those criticisms from the survey really give a lot of good insight about how to make things better. And we were born through COVID, so we're still kind of in our infancy. This is still kind of a startup esports organization, and we've grown exponentially so quickly. It's wild. And I like to think that we're doing a good job because of the fact that we are constantly taking feedback and asking for it, and asking for bad feedback, because you're never going to get you're never going to be better unless you actually take genuine criticism and evaluate what you can do to make those situations better. So I think that we really kind of like excel as like a group in the CMSA by taking those things seriously and really getting feedback from our community.
Yeah, I feel like on that piece of feedback, I think something that also helps a space last is being grounded in your mission. So with our mission at CMSA it's really meant to be social. So you're meeting friends through playing esports, and that has, for example, posed. It has helped us be grounded as that being our North Star, because you'll get feedback that it could be either way. It could be, this doesn't feel competitive enough. It should be this way, or I think it should be this, and you'll get a lot of different ideas and suggestions, and a lot of them are really great in what you're looking for. But you have to ask yourself, if I implement this, does it get me closer to my mission, or does it get me further away from my mission? For example, with League of Legends, it's a 5v5 game, and so the way that we do it is you play with your team, and then next week you'll have a new team. It just works that way, right? And that way you're meeting people, and that's our mission. We've gotten feedback, hey, I'd like to have the same team each and every week for 9 weeks. And then you have to think about, okay, should I do that? Should I not do that? Well, you're going to meet less people, so maybe that's not the right one. But there's another idea of, what if during the evening you switch up the team, right? Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. So it's all about taking the feedback that gets you closer to your mission. And you have to be really strong in that, because if you start losing that's your proposition value, right? There's a lot of different esports spaces out there. What are you providing, and why would people want to hang out with you? well, you want to hang out with us because we're going to be your best friends. That's the whole point. We want to make friends, and we shut down on the toxicity, and we go, no, like we don't do that here. Like we don't emote when you kill somebody. Like that's we just don't. And so I think making decisions, taking feedback that gets you closer to your North Star is a really strong way to continue lasting.
Yeah, I think just to build on sort of like speaking about the mission and like that as the driver, like make sure when like if you are looking at building your own queer esports community or any esports community or any community really, like, when you come up with that mission, make sure that you are offering something that nobody else is doing, right? Like I think we kind of struggled when we were starting, like trying to find like templates for how to work a League of Legends league, like what we were putting together, and we couldn't really find it because like a lot of the stuff out there it's people wanting to be competitive and people wanting to like really have a like who's the best and how do we make a tournament that rewards people for their skill, and we really like kind of had to rack our brains, and again we've had to evolve over time to again focus on like our mission is that we want to create this social space which didn't exist out there before in the way that we wanted to see it. So again, just as advice, like if we're looking at other people trying to grow a community that's different than ours or similar to ours, even like make sure you're finding like a niche that you can fill, because it's easy to attract people that want that thing when you have a clear defined mission that is unique to you.
And I think also what's really like important for people to consider is that you don't have to know how to do everything in order to start. What's that like silly cliche? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And the thing is, though, is like we've been able to. You had just said it with a League of Legends. You were Googling templates to find things. I had just started playing Dead by Daylight. I decided, I think it would be like fun. It's a game I play. Like maybe we can make something of it. And we have our Bloodpoint Brawl, and we've found where some challenges are in scoring in a certain way, and how it could maybe create some like selfish gameplay that is not necessarily conducive to fun or competition in some ways. And so I just bring in people that are in the league and active members, and I'm like, hey, we're going to test out a bunch of different scoring concepts. Would you like to spend some time with me, and we'll just play a couple games and we'll see how it plays out. And we have like a completely brand new model. And so, if you want to, grow a community and you want it to start somewhere, all you have to do is really just start it, and then just again keep taking that feedback and use what you already know. What you already know is you want to start, and that is all you need. We do a lot when it comes to, if anybody comes to CMSA Esports and is like, hey, I have this game that I'd like to start a league. We're like, yeah, like join in, take the reins. We will be resources for you to help guide you in what to do. We'll help you like build a template of like what you really need to do to get that going. You'll of course have to be putting in the work of following that outline, but we love to foster people's talents. And if you want to get something started, we are like right there because we get it. We had to do it, and when we started, there was obviously hiccups on the way, and we had to adapt and learn, and we're still adapting and learning, but we can also help people that want to do that with us. And so we are always open to new games and new gamers, so please be a part of CMSA.
I love that. Good pitch. Good pitch.
I love that. I think that something that really ensures that your space will be lasting is that it has to be inclusive. If it is exclusive, it will only last for so long. So let's talk about what needs to be true in order for us to consider ourselves inclusive in our space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think one of the really great like kind of jumping off points that's been true of us since like day one or close to day one. As soon as we were able to, we are a fully no cost like community, right? We're entirely community run. All of our overhead, we either cover it or use free open source tools like Discord and Tournament and Google Sheets and Google Forms for like all of our signups, right? And so what's really great about our community and what makes it accessible and inclusive to a lot of people is we invite everyone to join, and there's no like bar to entry for coming to this space, which I think is really really important for kind of creating our space, especially because we can it's all digital and it's all again free to us to run primarily. So that's been really, I think, a great way for us to improve our inclusiveness. Yeah, what about you, Lad? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think inclusivity looks like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
We talk about like in esports in particular, there's skill levels, and how do you address bringing on someone who wants to play in your league that has only just started playing the game, when you have people on the other end of the spectrum that have been playing for 10 years. And then even when you've been playing for 10 years in the ranking system of any game, you could be at the bottom, which I am. And because I play when I can, and then other people who are just naturally gifted at the game and are so strong, right? And I don't want to play against somebody who's just gonna kick my butt. Like I want to have fun too, right? But so it's like, how do you be inclusive of that? And that's just one realm of things. Like you start thinking about inclusivity across a lot of different planes. Neurodivergence. How do you think through somebody who in our setup, we have on Tuesday nights, we do captains, and the captains, it's a private draft. It's off to the side. They just see like the play history of the players. They all do the draft, and then we share who's on what team that night. But some captains don't want to do that. And it's the way that we have it set up is if you're on the top of the league, if you have the highest win rate, then you're captain that next week. And some people feel a little too anxious to do that. And I think that you don't know where people are coming from, and inclusivity is not the same as diversity, right? We're thinking inclusivity like it could be, there's a lot of lines of similarity, but you're not seeing people these are just names and voices, right? And your friends. And so you have to think through, okay, is this person just like not wanting to do it the way that I want to do it? And are they like throwing a wrench in it? And should I be grumpy about that? Or is it actually this person might actually have a need, and I need to be able to support that need. So then how do I accommodate for that? And so if having a more open mind about the different types of needs throughout the process that your players are going to have is what I think makes things feel more inclusive.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We, in addition, we obviously have all of our moderators that like run through the entire CMSA Discord that we use to facilitate all of our games and everything. One of the things that I had done was just for even my like Dead by Daylight League itself was, even in the sign up form, in our rules section and everything, I had assigned, some trusted community members to be our vibe checkers, which are I call them the terror squad. And you made sure that there was at least one of them in each of the different games that were being played during Dead by Daylight, just to not only to be, one to facilitate, the games, but also to be there as, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people can be like intimidated to go straight to leadership about an issue or a problem. So I wanted to make sure that there were people that were within the game itself that they were playing with, that they felt like they could bring things up to, and also knew that those people were present, paying attention to see if like any type of like bullying was happening or discrimination or prejudice, because we want to avoid anybody even needing to make those kind of complaints or bring those type of issues up. So we like to have some visible members of the community always active, and as long as and we also love assigning people those roles. So when we see people that are active in the Discord and they are a trusted member, we like to make sure that we foster that within people. Some people are better at talking to people than other people are. Some people are better listeners than other people are, and most people are better listeners than me. I'm rude. Just kidding. But yeah, so we have I have some really good people in mine, and I know that we kind of like do that with our community as a whole, and it really helps to make sure that all people are being respected. And as queer people, I think we of all people know what it's like to feel left out of things, left out of sports, left out of esports, left out of gaming. I can't sign on to Apex or something without being called a slur every single time. And so it's just we need to just having this a CMSA space, which is really great. You already kind of inject yourself into a community that is going to be leaning towards inclusivity and openness. But that doesn't mean that we can be perfect at all times. And so we try to make sure that we have systems in place to address any problems that are happening. And I think that we've done pretty successfully. There's never going to be a situation where it's perfect. You never know when somebody's going to just pop in and say something crazy, or somebody has the slip of the tongue, and and you just handle it as it comes. But as a whole, when we have you're signing up, you have to agree to our terms of service. So when you join, even when you join one of the games, you have to agree again to say, hey, I agree to follow this code of conduct. And if you don't follow that code of conduct, we have a 3-strike rule, but we also don't need to use our 3-strike rule. If we just want to get rid of you because that was too much, you're just out of here. I would rather have 50 people happy than one person that thinks they're being edgy, just being able to kind of make some rude comments, making people uncomfortable. So it's been it's really nice to build a community where the community helps self-moderate as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good one. And just to loop back to what you said, I think while we can't be perfect, being consistent and making your expectations clear, and saying, we have strict community guidelines and we have strict expectations about how you're going to treat other people. And then having actual consequences related to those, and things that you can communicate and talk to those people about. It's so important about staying on top of it and being consistent.
Should we share what the vibe check is and what the consequence system is so that people can get an idea?
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Just so you know, we just got the 10-minute warning. So I just want to.
Sure. So here's what the vibe check is, right? So it's a couple of points that everyone agrees to. You hit an emoji in the Discord, but the vibe check is that the night of play is 0 toxicity. So no emoting. Don't tell someone GG easy, right? No question marks. We say the other days of the week, do whatever you want. The night that we are playing here in this space, you're not going to do that, right? The next one is friendship over competition. We play to win, but not to dominate. End games when they're appropriately meant to end, right? Give lots of fist bumps, and don't give up. If you're halfway through and you're shoot, my team's losing, we don't do the whole forfeit thing, because it's no, you could win. I have played games before where I have just won in the end, right? So it's all about having that good kind of mental about that. We have be humble when you win and be happy for the other team when you don't. We have ask questions, because people love talking about themselves, and if you're having a hard time chatting, lead with a question. Assume best intent. If you feel some sort of way, let the person know how you feel and ask them if that's what they intended. And then when all else fails, hit up a mod if someone is being aggressively not the vibe, and then everybody emotes it that they agree, and then that's how you can start your nights and start playing. So Jake, tell us a little bit about what happens if someone is aggressively not the vibe.
Yeah, so I mean, like Kyle said, we have like a 3-strike rule kind of thing. So the first one is the league manager will reach out to you and have a one-on-one conversation, just kind of express what are the expectations of your behavior, how did what you did go against those things, like how can we improve, right? Because I think, again, we've had a lot of people in our community that like are good people and are nice people and have the capacity to be a contributing and positive member of the community, but who just like, slip up once or twice or haven't engaged in the kind of environment that we are providing, right? Because I think we are kind of unique in what we do. And so to come in and like say, hey, you can't ping 1,000 times your support because they goofed up in league, to say that they're like, oh, okay, I didn't get it, sorry. But like we've had so many people who we had one conversation with and they fixed their behavior and understood what the assignment was.
And you're like calling them on the phone, like on Discord, like you're like talking to them.
We have a video call with them because it's so easy to like have those things misinterpreted or have people think they're in trouble when really we're trying to help create an environment where anyone can enjoy themselves. And really, like, again, that's part of, we want it to be inclusive, even of people who have not had the opportunity to be in these kinds of things or know how the kind of appropriate behavior on their first try. Go ahead.
I think like, so I watched one of the other, panels by Gayming mag a couple of weeks ago, and I think they were talking about combating like toxicity in esports or in gaming and something like that. And kind of where I'm like pulling that back is there is why we have like a 3-strike rule is sometimes people are just unintentionally ignorant and you want to give them a chance to kind of learn from that instead of being immediately kicked out for it. I think about like one time when I was a kid, like I maybe like in high school, and one of my sister's friends was over. Maybe I wasn't in high school because I was out of the closet, and it's relevant to the story. One of my sister's friends was over and he like was talking about something and he's like, that's so gay. I mean, stupid. And it was clear he was wanting to self-correct. Like he did something wrong and I could have been like, you understand gay people aren't just stupid, right? And been really unpleasant about it. But instead, it was more like a teaching moment, even though that wasn't like an example of me sitting down and having a conversation with him about it. It's just that I think it's nicer to give people the benefit of the doubt. And by giving them that opportunity to have that face-to-face, we're giving them the chance to be willing to show that they are willing to learn and understand and change a behavior. Because again, we are all living in our own personal bubbles. As much as we want to think that we all have one collective mind, we don't. And we have to kind of give people the chance to experience things for the first time and come around. And as long as somebody is the type of person that is open to doing the right thing and educating themselves, it's fair to give them that chance, I think.
Yeah, agreed. But that is also why we have 3 strikes, right? Because it's good to give them that chance, but also it's good to have real consequences because
totally,
like we've talked about, the reason we are still around is because we excise toxicity when it shows its face. So like, again, giving them a chance, giving them 2 chances to improve themselves and to make behavioral corrections is something we're willing to do. But then, we're not going to make the entire Discord suffer because somebody can't, operate in the kind of social space that we're trying to create.
And there's definitely a line. Like you can be kicked after one.
Well, y'all, we are getting right to the end. We have just a couple minutes left. We talked about so much. There's so much more that we could talk about. We have like weekly leadership meetings, which anyone out there, if you'd like to join us, you want to lead something, you should do so by coming and joining us at www.cmsadiscord.com because we are always looking for more people to help. But we just talk about a ton of stuff just like this. And so if this is interesting to you, come join us. And I'm going to pass it to Jake to close us out and tell us about all the cool things coming up if people do decide to join us.
Yeah, really appreciate everyone being here. So coming up, just just to plug ourselves a little bit, we have 2 upcoming leagues. We have a League of Legends league starting September 27th for 9 weeks. We would love you guys to come sign up for that. That's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then we also have a Fortnite League starting up for the first time ever. That's Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time starting on October 3rd. And that's only 4 weeks because it's our first time, so we want to make sure it works before we commit to a 9-week season for it. But we're really excited for it. And so again, if you hop into that Discord that we just shared, cmsadiscord.com, you can go to the league registrations channel, which you'll see right at the top of it, and you can see our sign up links. We would love to have you guys. Again, this is an amazing queer community full of people who want to make friends and get to know each other and have community in a virtual environment and with other queer people. And so we would, again, just love to have you. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I think, we also have a Dead by Daylight tournament coming up October 20th, right?
22nd, October 22nd. The registration form is not quite yet ready, but will be up by, I think, Friday this week. But you can get to it at the cmsadiscord.com our Discord server.
Yeah, if you join up now and tag yourself in the Dead by Daylight, if you give yourself the Dead by Daylight tag, we'll be tagging that whole group individually so that it's coming.
Awesome. Well, regrettably, Jake, BB, Kyle, thank you so much. I was Vladimir, your student moderator. I hope that we see everybody in the Discord and on the battlefield of the game of your choice. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, team.
Thank you. Mwah.